Hello and welcome to Module 5 of the Wellbeing-Resilience Toolbox for Teachers. In the last module, we spoke about energy management, and I really hope you enjoyed the activity of defining your uplifters and your drainers, and got really clear about how you can manage your energy a lot more effectively and eliminate those items in your life that are really draining your energy and focus on elements that really boost your energy. I'm really excited for this module because it's my favorite topic when it comes to talking about well-being and how to be more resilient. This module is about nowness. Nowness is about being mindful, and it's about utilizing mindfulness techniques to help us be more present and calm in the moment. Mindfulness is a huge topic, and there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of studies done on the benefits of mindfulness when it comes to well-being, when it comes to being more calm, and when it comes to handling situations in a more resilient way. Really, in a nutshell, I like to look at mindfulness as the science of calm and the science of wellness. And we're going to explore all of this in today's module. Now, one of the leaders in mindfulness meditation is Jon Kabat-Zinn. Now, he defined mindfulness meditation as the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And what that means, it's about being aware of our thoughts, of our feelings, and our breath. It's the ability to tune in and check in with how the body's feeling. The benefits of being able to do this allows us to have a greater reflective intelligence. It allows us to have greater metacognition, which is the ability to be aware of our thoughts and aware of our feelings. And with greater awareness, we can manage ourselves effectively. Now, the absolute key benefit of mindfulness is in its ability to help us reduce stress, to help calm all the systems within the body. As we spoke about in Module 1, when we are stressed, we activate our fight, flight, and freeze mode. What mindfulness triggers is the exact opposite response in the body. Mindfulness activates our relaxation response. Now, Dr. Herbert Benson defined the relaxation response. He defined it as follows. The relaxation response is a physical state of deep rest that changes the physical and emotional responses to stress. It is the opposite of the fight or flight response. So ultimately, when we learn how to use mindfulness techniques effectively, we can transform our stress response into our calm. And that's why I really like to look at mindfulness as the science of calm, and the ability that when we practice it enough, we teach the body how to go more into calm than into stress. And ultimately, over time, we find that we handle situations that would normally stress us out in a lot more effective way. We become more responsive, we become more quiet, we become more settled inside, and therefore handle situations more resiliently and enhance our well-being. Now, before we go into really understanding the benefits of mindfulness, I want to just explore mindfulness from a neuroscience perspective to really understand the benefits that mindfulness has on the brain and understand the science of how mindfulness works within the body. Now, scientists very on understood the brain to compose of 3 compartments. We have the action brain, or the instinctual brain, that is really managed by a key part of the brain called the amygdala. We're going to come back to that in a few moments. We have the emotional brain that really explains how we respond to situations. And then we have the thinking brain. We have the cognitive part of the brain, the problem solving, also known as the neocortex. Now, what we understand from modern neuroplasticity is that the brain can adapt itself. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we enhance the neocortex, the more we grow that part of the brain, very simply put. And in understanding that and activating the neocortex, we have greater ability to think better, to be clearer in our thoughts, to problem solve, to have greater willpower, because this is the center of executive functioning. So when we practice mindfulness, we can see that we are really exercising, or we can call it innercising, these inner structures of the brain, so that mindfulness becomes a neuroscience. It becomes a part of the mind that we activate, and the more that we practice it, we learn that we can tune down that emotional or instinctual reaction and start to turn up with our focus a more calm response with practice. And this is really empowering, because it really shows us that there is a science to calm, that there is a way for us to really take control of our thoughts and emotions and ultimately handle situations from that best self. So when we understand the science of mindfulness and the science of being calm, we can see that there are a multitude of benefits. I'm going to focus on a few here that are especially particular to teachers and the classroom environment. So practicing mindfulness has been known to create more emotional awareness. It helps us bridge the gap between what is triggering us, or what is really stressing us, to our response, or how we're going to react effectively to it. Like I said earlier, when we have greater emotional awareness, we can handle situations a lot more effectively. Especially knowing what our thoughts are, knowing what our feelings are. The first step is always having that more expanded awareness of it. Next, it helps us cultivate compassion. Instead of judging situations and judging ourselves, we can build greater compassion, a greater ability to observe situations, observe ourselves, and observe other people in a lot more detached way, with a greater sense of acceptance. In fact, that's how I love to look at compassion, is that compassion is a detached acceptance of ourselves, of others, and of situations. And this can be really helpful in soothing empathy fatigue, which we spoke about in our last module. Mindfulness, because it activates and enhances the neocortex of the mind, that executive functioning, it helps us have more effective communication. Because we are more present, because we are more calm, because we are thinking clearly and activating those centers of the mind, we have greater use of articulating and expressing ourselves, rather in an emotionally reactive way, in a calm and articulate way, in a really confident way. Mindfulness also gives us greater willpower, which we spoke about in a previous module. It fills up that willpower tank and gives us a greater sense of self-control and inner focus. Mindfulness also cultivates greater calm. We find that the more we practice mindfulness, situations that triggered us or stressed us or would really activate that stress response don't happen anymore. And as we spoke about in module 2, our calm self is our best self. So cultivating a greater sense of calm, again, allows us to be the best version of ourselves. Mindfulness also helps us have greater self-regulation. Because we have greater willpower, we can regulate our emotions. We can be more calm and confident and present in the classroom. And that leads us on to the next benefit, which is around creating a greater sense of joy. Now, there is a lot of research about bringing joy in the classroom, which we're going to talk about in our last module. But joy allows us to just focus on the blessings in our life. It allows us to focus on what makes us happy. And it allows us to be a bit more playful in our way. And that is a great thing to bring into the classroom, because Creating a sense of joy in the classroom really brings a greater sense of belonging, a greater sense of fun, which ultimately enhances learning in the classroom. Another really powerful way of looking at mindfulness is understanding it in what I call the power of the pause. And when we are learning mindfulness and practicing and developing it as a technique, we want to understand that what we are actually going to do is we're going to cause a disruption between our stress response and our ultimate response. And we do that by creating this powerful pause. And this power of the pause can be known as the stop technique. Stop, think, observe, proceed. Now, when we disrupt our stress response, what we are ultimately doing is we are pausing or stopping that instinctual emotional reaction, the negative self-talk, the negative emotions, the instinctual reaction that we have to something that stresses us. Now, when we disrupt that and we pause it and we just focus on that gap, there's a powerful moment in that gap, because what happens is we're able to almost catch the emotion. We're able to observe the emotion using critical thinking and awareness, and then we're able to soothe the emotion, to observe the changes as we come back to our natural state, and then to proceed in a calm state. So these can be 4 steps to really building the muscle of mindfulness. So stopping your negative thinking, stopping the negative emotions, stopping your instinctual reaction, and just pausing, taking a nice breath, thinking about what is stressing you, critically thinking about that, using your breath to soothe and calm the body. Observing this calm response, observing your body coming back to its natural state, and then proceeding effectively, proceeding in a calm response that will lead you feeling ultimately proud of yourself, using your character strengths, using your values, using your will, and using your courage. So these 4 steps are a really easy way of learning how to practice mindfulness. And all that it takes is the ability, the hardest part, is the ability to remember to remember. So print off this stop sign, put it on your phone, put it somewhere where you can see it every day to remind yourself to stop, right? Just to actually say those words to yourself, snap your fingers, visualize that stop sign, sing it in your head if you need to, but just learn how to disrupt that stress response. Learn how to pause it as if you have a remote control that you can take yourself in a stressful situation and just pause. Pause for a moment and mindfully transform your emotions. And as we know in those moments, it's not that easy to just pause and just to soothe ourselves and just respond effectively. It's going to take time to build this muscle. In the next video, we are going to focus on 7 techniques that you can learn to build the muscle of mindfulness, including a really great meditation that you can practice throughout your weeks to develop this skill even further. I look forward to seeing you in video number 2.